I want to make an observation before I do my press conference, Gloria. You know what's interesting is that we hear over and over again, what is Eric big item? What is his big ticket? What is the primary thing that he's going to do? Is it going to be a pre-K? Is it going to be mayoral control? You know, what's the one item that he's going to do? And that's just the wrong question. You know, I'm not going to be the one item mayor. Our city is dysfunctional. What I'm going to do as the mayor is to have the agencies do the jobs that the taxpayers are paying for. And so this is not sexy. This is not something that, you know, all of a sudden I can say throughout my entire term that, hey, I was able to get this one thing, I was able to get this one thing. No, I'm going to make government function. And that is so non-traditional because it does not strike what many people are used to hearing all the time of running on one item. I'm going to create a safe city that is not going to continue to fail 65% of black and brown children in education, that's not going to fail to not identify dyslexia, that's not going to fail to not be able to ensure that people who qualify for benefits and resources, we send billions back to Washington, D.C., that many people who are in need of these services cannot get through the bureaucracy to get it done. And so at the end of my 4 years in office as the mayor, you're not going to be able to say, well, here's this one thing he did. You're going to see a city that's going to function. That is what you're going to see. A city that's going to function and do its job and stop betraying everyday New Yorkers. And so those who are looking for one item for Eric Adams, no, you're not. You're going to see a multitude of things that finally you're going to be able to walk through your city and not have to worry about being a victim of a crime. Finally, you can drop your children off to school and know that they're going to get the quality education that they deserve. We could have a NYCHA where we're going to do real repairing and tickets are not open for years. So this may seem ordinary to those who are not living the tragedy. You know, those who are not living in these communities that have been betrayed, what I'm saying may not sound like a lot. But when you live in communities when everyday government fails you, this means a lot. And nothing personifies that more than what I'm doing now. By bringing on probably one of the most important appointments I am making with Matt Fraser. Sat down with Matt. He heard my vision. He heard what I want to do with a city that is living in the 20th century instead of the 21st century. We have been so afraid of technology, so afraid of transforming our city. It's almost embarrassing how this city is so far behind so many other cities. And when I was able to find Matt and hear that he just got it. He understood what I want to do in technology and running a smarter city that delivers for the people. What he's going to do, he's going to allow me to do something I talk about all the time, get stuff done. We have to get stuff done, and we are failing to do that. And I have to build the right team to do that. And some of the team members that I'm pulling together, some of you may say, well, you know what, you shouldn't have them on your team. That's fine. I have to build the right team on people I know, people I trust, and who are best fit for moving this city forward in the right direction. I have to cut the red tape and the bureaucracy. It's just unbelievable how bureaucratic this city has become. It should not take 3 years to get a sprinkler inspection put in place from the department, from the fire department. It should not take 2 years for a restaurant that's paying $30,000 a month in lease for a restaurant, and they have to wait 2 years for Con Edison to turn on their electricity. This is just making no sense. And I just refuse to accept that this is just how to do business in this city, that this city is not governable. No, this city is governable. You just have to have the desire and will to do so, and we have that. And so I'm a self-confessed computer geek. From my days of Comstat in my early computer days, I knew when we turn around crime using technology, we can do it in running agencies. I campaign on transforming the digital government to serve our city in the right way. Well, today, this announcement is saying that transformation begins. I'm signing an executive order that will consolidate all the city's technology agencies and roles into one office. We have all of these different offices with technology. We're going to bring them all together so that we could have one office under one CIO. It's not just about dollars and cents, it's about common sense. We've lost the common sense approach to government. And this new office with the Office of Technology and Innovation is crucial. He's a CTO, forgive me. The new CTO, Chief Technology Officer, is going to be in charge of all of these offices. We're putting technology at the center of running our city, at the center of it. The Office of Technology and Innovation will unify the following agencies: Department of Information, Technology and Telecommunication, Mayor's Office of Data Analytics, Mayor's Office of the Chief Technology Officer. All of them now are disjointed. They're not communicating with each other. Everyone has a different vision, a different operation. Those days are over. We're moving as one. We're also going to have the Mayor's Office of Information Privacy, New York City Cyber Command. Many of us don't know we are under a cyber threat. Other cities have paid ransom to those who have used cyber threats against them. Atlanta just had a major threat. A city in New Jersey just had a major threat. This has been ignored, but this is a real threat to our environment. Mayor de Blasio, upon his departure, when I met with him one day in Gracie Mansion, he said, "Eric, COVID is a problem, but the real problem we're facing is cybersecurity. It can bring our city to a halt if we do not get prepared for the attacks to our infrastructure." The agency also of algorithms, management, and policy officers. New York City 311. We get all this data in 311, and what do we do with it? We don't do a GIS mapping. We don't identify the calls that are coming in to become more proactive and prevent some of the problems. We should be taking all of that rich data from 311 and bringing it together to come up with real ways of solving problems for New Yorkers. So the head of this office, as I stated, our new CTO, Matt Fraser, just a brilliant contribution to this amazing team that I'm building. This amazing team that I am building. And Matt is an important aspect of it because he's going to have a cross reach in all of our agencies to bring us to the level of using technology to deliver services to the people of this city. We're going to ensure that our technology has one voice and one leader, and everyone is going to be part of his coordination. And this is how we break down the silos. All of us know how dreary it is to walk into an agency and you are sent to different agencies to do the same things, and we want to stop that. Our process is going to ensure our agencies are working together rather than in their own silos. The vision for the next 4 years is very simple. We're going to democratize the access to city agencies. And that's what this new office will do. Streamline delivery of governmental services and ensure that New Yorkers are getting the best services in the best city on the globe. We will foster growth in our technology sector so New Yorkers can continue to lead the world. We are following other agencies, other countries, and other cities because of our inability and unwillingness to move forward. And it's going to bridge the gap in the digital divide. We saw during COVID that broadband is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And if you don't have access to broadband, you don't have access to education if you can't go to school. You don't have access to telemedicine. You don't have access to Zoom. We have to make sure that high-speed broadband is citywide, and that is our focus. Laser focus on making it easier for New Yorkers to access benefits offered by the city. DREES, SCREES, SNAP, WIC. If we know that people qualify for it, why must they go down to various agencies to sign up for it? We can stop this from happening and make sure that everyone who's in need will receive the services that they deserve. And this includes my MyCity proposal, a single portal where New Yorkers can access their service. One card, one portal, and make sure New Yorkers get everything that they are eligible for. Listen, this city is made up of the best stuff on earth, and that's New Yorkers. And technology is going to allow us to make sure that everyday people receive the benefits that they deserve. So I'm proud to assign this order, and I'm proud to have Matt on our team and what he has offered to this team and what he's going to offer to this city. So at this time, I want to introduce Matt Fraser before signing the executive order, and then I'll come back and do what you, ladies and gentlemen, like the most, answer your questions.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for those kind words and your commitment to make technology elevated across the city. I'm incredibly honored and privileged to serve as New York City's Chief Technology Officer. As a person that was born and raised in this city, to be presented with the opportunity to make what's already a great city greater, there's no greater privilege than that. Streamlining technology operations under one unified office will make our government more agile, more efficient, and more responsive to the needs of the over 8 million people that live and work in this city. More importantly, it will finally place technology at the level where it can serve as the great equalizer and enable agencies to actually get stuff done. From spearheading the creation of the MyCity app to safeguarding the city's technology assets, to closing the digital divide, and building better relationships with New York City's growing private sector, especially around technology. The work we have ahead could not be more important or more timely. However, the true measure of our collective success will not be measured by the words spoken today, but by our actions taken and the real accomplishments resulting from our get stuff done attitude. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to serve this great city, and to the people of this great city, thank you for entrusting us to get the job done. So from this point, I think it's time for me to actually go get stuff done, but not before taking a few questions. So, sir?
My man. Few questions before I bounce.
First, and then we'll go to on-topic. Any on-topic questions? South?
Mayor, could you just detail a little bit more about this warning that your predecessor gave you about a cyber threat?
When I met with Bill, he just basically outlined that, like other cities, there's a constant attempt to go after our infrastructure in many ways. And he stated that, Eric, one of the things you must do right away, you must focus your attention on the cybersecurity threat. Across the country, cities have been basically held hostage and stated that if you don't pay a ransom, we will disrupt your infrastructure. And remember, everything runs on technology now. Our water supply, our records, And we don't notice that. And so he stated that you must get it under control, and that's how, when I first spoke with Matt and heard of his full understanding, we are going to be hosting a meeting with the major private industries around their cybersecurity experts because they're protecting their infrastructure. We are not doing it the way we ought to do. And so we're going to sit down with them, learn from them, and create a partnership with the major cybersecurity experts with the corporation across this country. And this is going to be one of the first of its kind meetings, but we have the country has a cyber threat. In New York, just as we are the largest target on so many things, my predecessor said, Eric, you need to immediately address this issue, and that is why I spoke with Matt during the transition period, and we are going to lead it head on. It's not within sight, but it's there, and we have to address it.
Mayor Adams, with this sort of combination of multiple agencies, what does it mean for the people working there? Will there be an evaluation, if there's any duplication of jobs, and then what happens?
I like that. I like that question. I like that question. I am blown away when I look at the duplication of managerial employment in this city. I'm blown away. I am like the Motel 6 guy. If you pass by City Hall, that room in the back, you see my lights on at 3, 4 in the morning going over these numbers. Taxpayers are just not getting their money's worth. And we're going to do a real analysis of the duplication of jobs. If we need them, we're going to keep them. But Matt must go through and really ask everyone in every agency that we are consolidating, how are you moving towards the mission? If your job is no longer here, are we going to lose anything on our mission? And if the need is to consolidate, we're going to consolidate. We saw what David Banks did in the Department of Education. He streamlined his leadership team. That's the order that's coming from me. These are taxpayers' dollars, damn it. And we need to protect them, and taxpayers deserve to get their money's worth. And Matt and every other head of agency, they're clear. I told you on the campaign trail, we're going to do a 3% peg. I had a meeting with all of my commissioners and say, listen, I need you. But taxpayers need to know we're doing right with their money. We need a 3% peg. Promises made, promises kept, and Matt understands that, and we're going to look at every employee in all of these agencies and see, do we have a duplication of services?
Last big citywide IT project, City Time, put a lot of people in jail and resulted in massive cost overruns. Why should people have more faith that this goes better?
And you're right, and we have to take our hat off to Mayor Bloomberg. He did not try to hide from the problem. He was front and center and stated that taxpayers should not be cheated. And using the right technology and the right artificial intelligence, you can identify fraud and mismanagement not only in the City Time, but throughout the city. Trust me, there's fraud and mismanagement in these agencies, and we need to go after them. You cannot spend the money we're spending in NYCHA and still get this inferior product. And we're not looking for that. And that is what we must do with the combination of using technology, the Department of Investigation, and making sure that taxpayers' dollars are being used correctly. And so part of what Matt must do is to have those internal systems that will identify the potentiality that there's mismanagement taking place, incompetence or fraud, and turn that over to the Controller's Office and the Department of Investigation. I said it on the campaign trail. I want the Controller to audit the hell out of my agencies because I know we are not doing the job the way we ought to be doing it. And we're going to keep our eye and make sure there's no mismanagement or fraud. And that is part of the system we must build in so we can rebuild the confidence with New Yorkers.
Do you think it's mismanagement, or do you think it's incompetence, or like if you had to describe sort of the singular symptom you keep talking about, like what's causing it?
I think it's a combination. I think that there's a level of mismanagement. I think there's a level of incompetence. And also, I think there are too many people in government that believe, hey, this is not my money. The people have the tendency to believe that taxpayers' dollars, if we had to use our dollars to pay for some of the things we are paying for, I believe people would be more prudent and more cost effective. I just think there are too many people that don't understand these are taxpayers' dollars, and they deserve a better product. And we have to identify what is causing the failure to deliver the product. I mean, Nolan, just think about this for a moment. We spend over $30 billion to educate children, and 65% of them don't reach proficiency. I mean, David Banks said it best. We can get those numbers if they just wake up in the morning. I mean, all of this money we're spending, and we keep getting year after year after year inferior product. NYCHA, every year the same problems, tickets outstanding. All of these products that we're supposed to be doing better, we're not.
Michael and then Carol.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for taking my question. Going back to your conversations with your predecessor, did he refer to anything, any specific incident, or make any specific recommendation as far as cybersecurity goes? And if so, can you give some specifics as far as that goes?
I don't want to go into any specifics because some of this stuff is sensitive. But he was very clear. Eric, day one, you have to get cybersecurity under control. And when I left Gracie Mansion that evening, it was around by 8:30, I text Matt. Say, listen, I need to talk to you, because he was very clear and he was very convincing that we need to get this under control.
What's the new agency being called? What's the umbrella agency that's being created today?
So the umbrella agency is called the Office of Tech and Innovation. And as the mayor said, it consolidates what was legacy do it, the mayor's office of the chief technology officer, the mayor's office of data and analytics, the algorithms management and policy office, New York City 311, and New York City Cyber Command. All right.
Mr. Mayor, it's early yet, but do you have any guesstimate on when you consolidate all these agencies? Might there be like 5% layoff or 2%? Is it too early? You're expecting layoffs?
No. Matt is going to make that determination. We are doing no furloughs on civil servants that are entitled. Those are, for the most part, when you do an analysis of our civil servant population, they're low income, and they're predominantly black, brown, and immigrants. And that would really hurt our safety net if we start doing furloughs, and we're not doing any furloughs on our civil servants. Those upper managements that are going through the motion, that is our focus. Everyone that is in managerial positions and high-end positions, they must be providing a service to the city. You can't be there just going through the motion. That is not what's going to happen. And if you're doing so, then fine. But if you're not, this is a different day right now.
Gloria, last question.
I wonder if, Mr. Mayor, and for Matt as well, if you could give us an example of something you think is working that you'd like to preserve or improve on, sort of in the system as a whole. Is it 311? Is it, I know you've talked about how long it takes to get an inspection or a permit, and something that you think is absolutely not working and that you'd like to get rid of in the system.
Well, I think that the New York City Police Department's CompStat system was a great system, but now we have to continue to evolve. Imagine having the first iPhone when everything around you is evolving. We have to evolve. Even CompStat needs to evolve. The system of using dashboards is crucial. You would not get on a plane without a cockpit. You'll run off the plane. We're running this complicated piece of machinery called New York City without monitoring where we are all the time. We should know, how many children are in school and not in school, where they're coming from, who signed up for WIC and food stamps, using technology to do so. And so we're not using technology as a cockpit, as they're doing in Boston with City Score, which is the first version of that. But we believe New Yorkers should have right on your phone, you should be able to know what is happening in the city. And so I think NYPD's CompStat is doing okay. It needs to evolve to the next level. The former chancellor, 2 chancellors ago, was going to roll out EduStat, which was an amazing idea. After I kept calling for it to do it, he finally sat down and did a presentation, but he left before rolling it out. Chancellor Banks is looking at that now. I think we need a NYCHA stat. You call NYCHA to get a ticket, you should be able to know how long it's going to take them to come to see you. And so let's say you have a NYCHA ticket. We can use data to determine why is it taking so long to get that cabinet repaired, to get that leak done. Right now, we can't analyze any of that. They're using a composition notebook and some paper to make this determination. This is what I find, going back to Nolan's question, I find dysfunctionality hides incompetency, fraud, and mismanagement. If you don't inspect what you expect, it's all suspect. Right now, it's all suspect. Yeah, we take three, Nolan, 3 off topics, because I got to bounce.
No, keep yours short.
I wanted to ask about this story we had in the paper today about Frank Carone. His company was previously tied with has all these lawsuits, problems they're trying to solve. Did you talk to Frank before appointing him as chief of staff about any of this stuff? Does any of it kind of give you any pause? I know you're confident, but I was wondering if you could talk about any prior conversations you had with Frank about it.
I cannot say this enough, that I am hiring the best people to do the best job for the best city on the globe. That's my only comment on that. Every day, people critique my appointments. I made a major announcement yesterday that we're beating COVID. And you would have thought that wasn't even an announcement. So I'm just learning so much. I know that negative news get a lot of clicks and sells a lot of papers, but we're winning. And so when it comes down to my appointments and appointees, I'm not going to share private conversations, but I'm hiring the best people to do the best job for the best city on the globe, and we're going to get the best results. And Frank is part of that team.
The city's booster rate is still only, give or take, 50%. I said the number of people in the city who are eligible and got their booster is still only about 50%. It's a key piece of the city's campaign against the Omicron variant. So, why do you think the number is still so low? Have you got your booster? And can you tell us about when you got it, you have the side effects, and talk to people about your experience?
That's why I just love Nolan. Yes, I got my booster. I got it before leaving for Ghana. I was going to be in a tight setting on the plane, and I wanted to make sure that I was boosted up. And we want to continue to encourage. I have a few ideas. I'm going to try to target those populations that are elusive. And there's some things that I met with some business executives and sports figures that are excited with my idea to go after that population that is just really challenging. And we're doing something else that has not been used enough. We're reaching out to behavior scientists. Behavior scientists should have long been at the table with us and asking, why are people reluctant to do so? That's a science that's not respected. And so we're leaving no stone unturned to make sure we increase the numbers of boosters, because the facts are clear. If you're boosted and if you are vaccinated, you're less likely to be hospitalized and in some cases die. And so we are focused on getting people boosted as much as possible. But yes, I did receive my booster shot. And we are encouraging all New Yorkers to do so. Get vaccinated, get boosted. That is our most potent weapon.
You've spoken a lot in the last few days about violent crime in the city. I know you were at the hospital last night after an officer was shot. Of course, you've spoken extensively about, the tragedy on the train tracks and in Burger King. I was wondering, given the state of affairs in the city, if you've considered holding the NYPD harmless from your 3% peg. Mike Bloomberg used to sometimes hold the NYPD harmless and say they didn't have to cut the budget if he felt there was concern about increased crime.
We are looking at that. We're looking at some agencies like Health and Hospital to hold harmless for the PEG. And we're looking at if there are others. It's not too many, I can tell you that. But we are looking at that. But here's my problem with the NYPD. Deployment. I said this on the campaign trail. You hired, Sally, a police officer to be on patrol to go after bad guys. That was why you hired him. He should not be sitting in a licensed division. His dangerous days should not be a paper cut. He needs to be on patrol. And so what I'm going to do, using my technology, I'm going to do an analysis of all of my law enforcement agencies, and I'm going to ask, what are you doing? You have that gun, you have that shield, you have that vest. Tell me, why aren't you on patrol? Why aren't you on my subways? Why aren't you on the street corners? That's the problem. So it's not the fact that, do they have the dollars? Are we deploying the manpower? And I'm going to make sure before we increase numbers that we are using taxpayers' dollars to deploy police properly. I'm sure you have gone to a parade and you walk down the block and you saw 10 officers just standing there. And I bet you they all on overtime. And you say, why are they all here for the Steuben parade? I mean, you're asking yourself, why are they all hanging around here? Why aren't you on patrol somewhere? We can use auxiliary at parades. We can tell parade organizers that we want you to have volunteers. Let's cut the police manpower by 50% so they can be there in case it's needed. But we don't need this large display. I told the chief of the department the other day, I'll go to a school or do a visit in the community. When I get there, I have 10 police officers standing there to show me, that, hey, Mr. Mayor, we're here. I don't need you here. I need you on patrol. Give me one cop right out front. That's a wrap. I don't want to see all of this display of police presence. No. You want to impress me? Have that display in Brownsville. Have that display in Harlem. Go to the communities that need you to be there. Instead of all of this showy stuff, I'm the mayor, so everyone needs to be around to greet me. No, I don't need you to greet me. I need you to be in my communities protecting the people, and that is the same what's happening inside these agencies. There are too many police officers inside these agencies that are just there. They're not on modified assignment. They're not there because they are injured somewhere. They're just assigned to do non-law enforcement. That just makes no sense for taxpayers. Okay.
We got to wrap. Sorry, folks. Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's not we got to rap. We got to bounce.